Hello friends, welcome to American Stars News. On this channel, we regularly share the latest news and spoilers from American TV shows. So, let's get into today's important update. Fox Business fired Trish for her outspoken views on the coronavirus pandemic. Many believed she was responsible for the outcome in 2020. For them, she crossed the line, prompting a drastic response from her superiors. 5 years later, Regan remains engaged in the media industry and maintains relevance as a podcaster. Despite her public persona, Trish has a hidden side that many are unaware of. Join us as we reveal Trish's undiscovered story. For instance, several were unaware that Regan was born Patricia and Reen and performed in pageantries as a child. After growing up in New Hampshire, Reen spent her teenage summers waiting and bussing tables in other locations of England. Having won Miss New Hampshire and represented her home state in Miss America 1994, she felt proud of her birthplace. At an interview, she discussed the significant work involved at this period of her life. She emphasized that pageantry involves more than just appearance. You must be able to connect with diverse individuals. Pageantry teaches quick thinking skills. Skillfully walking in high heels in a swimsuit is a skill I value. Regan, who did not win Miss USA 1994, received a special prize for her outstanding performance, surprising admirers who were unaware of her singing abilities. Regan was quite talented at singing and believed she could become a professional performer. She dedicated her life to studying voice in Graz, Austria, and at the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. However, fate had other intentions beyond singing. Regan recognized her aptitude for journalism and math skills. She became interested in journalism in 5th grade, particularly in reporting and writing. In addition, she served as school correspondent for her local New Hampshire newspaper. Regan's enthusiasm for journalism was evident, but she only studied history at Columbia University after graduating from the New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. Remarkably, Regan pursued a career in banking while studying, working as an analyst in emerging debt markets at Goldman Sachs. Her proficiency in Spanish enabled her to access Latin American sovereign debt markets. She primarily concentrated on Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, and Venezuela. However, her situation altered when Bloomberg TV offered her a position as a correspondent. Seeing the opportunity to combine financial awareness and journalism, Regan jumped into financial reporting without hesitation. Since joining Bloomberg in 2000, she witnessed the dot bubble burst firsthand. She covered the aftermath from Silicon Valley and San Francisco as a Market Watch journalist before joining CBS News in New York. Reen reported for CBS Evening News as a business journalist at CBS Market Watch. She also worked on Face the Nation and 48 Hours. Regan worked for CBS News and also as a journalist for CBS Money Watch. She was named the most outstanding young broadcast journalist by the Northern California Society of Professional Journalists in 2002 for her efforts. Regan returned to her financial origins as a CNBC anchor on The Call, a popular daily markets program, 4 years later. In 2007, she was nominated for an Emmy for her investigative reporting on the link between Islamic terrorist groups and the tri-border region of South America. Regan received a Gerald Loeb nomination for her documentary Against the Tide, The Battle for New Orleans, which examined the post-Katrina levee system. During her time at CNBC, Regan covered financial news for NBC's Nightly News and Today Show. She provided real-time coverage of the 2008 financial crisis. She also produced and hosted Marijuana Incorporated and Marijuana USA, two of CNBC's highest-rated programs, which explored the rapidly growing underground economy. Later, she published Joint Ventures, Inside America's Almost Legal Marijuana Industry, predicting its mainstream adoption. That was 2010. Regan was crucial in the 2010s, so it's not surprising that she maintained relationships with media businesses she worked with earlier in her career. By 2015, she was still hosting the Bloomberg television show Street Smart with Trish. Regan's career took off in 2015 when she joined Fox News and Fox Business to anchor the intelligence report with Trish on weekdays. This exposure led to controversies. Within 2 years of joining Fox, Regan was reportedly chosen by then-boss Roger Ailes to replace Megyn Kelly, who resigned due to her dissatisfaction with primetime cable news. After Kelly's departure, many anticipated the next female anchor to take her place. Following the initial assumption that Regan's onboarding was only for this purpose, everyone assumed she would be a sure thing. Surprisingly, Roger Ailes resigned months prior to Kelly's departure due to many sexual misconduct charges. The player stopped moving pieces on the board. Finally, the network moved Tucker Carlson Tonight into Kelly's time slot. Some claimed Regan would have occupied Kelly's 9:00 p.m. primetime slot if Roger Allen was remained in power. Regan soon recovered from the setback and transitioned to a conservative talk show, Trish Prime Time, a year later. This was a move towards increased journalistic control. Regan seated herself at the high table for more serious affairs. Unfortunately, Regan targeted the wrong opponent and searched the wrong den. She hosted the Fox Business show, Something Rotten in Denmark. The section compared Denmark to Venezuela, a country in political upheaval with a stagnant economy and kegs of gunpowder. According to her, Denmark, like Venezuela, has deprived people of their opportunities. She described the perceived problems in the Scandinavian country. Beginning with Denmark's notoriously high taxes, she argued that its freebies were not truly free. She said, "No one wants to work." She wasn't surprised, as the Danes were financial scholarships to attend university, which she believed was an incentive. Laziness. Regan stated that the Danes planned to open cupcake shops upon graduation. This was her warning about the risks of socialism. Denmark, as expected, disagreed. They felt the criticism of their beloved country was not productive, so they responded with facts and data. Denmark's Social Democrats released a video titled, "Something is Rotten" at Fox News to disprove Regan's welfare, school, and employment claims. The retort generated a series of statistics comparing Denmark with the U.S. in economic stability and growth. Danish Finance Minister Christian Jensen suggested Regan visit Denmark for facts, citing Denmark's 11th-place greater employment rate than the U.S. in OECD rankings. Sadly, Regan faced criticism from conservative Americans and her own followers, who questioned her journalistic ethics. The U.S. and Danish press attacked her remarks, prompting calls for an apology, as she was held accountable for inaccurate information. Regan clarified that she never implied that situations in Denmark were akin to the current catastrophe in Venezuela. She said, "I was merely pointing out using reports from The Atlantic, The Independent, and other publications that socialism is not the way." Criticizing these sources did not help her as they soon removed themselves from the controversy, declaring, "Our articles do not show that socialism does not definitively work." Despite strong internal and external criticism, Regan maintained her position for 2 years. The coronavirus pandemic presented challenges for individuals worldwide. As many mourned loved ones, the economic impact of limited movement was felt by all. In March 2020, early cases were found worldwide, but Regan was unaware of the impending disaster. On March 9, Regan provided expert insight on the rising instances in the U.S. Regan's headline story was about the coronavirus impeachment fraud. She added the chorus of hatred against the president is rising as Democrats solely blame him for a global virus. Unfortunately, this is another attempt to impeach the president, with no regard for the damage they cause. Regan's repeated actions are impeachable. The speaker accused liberal media of demonizing and destroying the presidency during the COVID-19 pandemic. Regan continued. She said, "People, including the media and some investors, are allowing their own hate and their own bias against him to spiral out of control." These comments were unpopular with viewers. Many healthcare experts and lawmakers were upset about it. One lawmaker thought COVID-19 shouldn't be a political issue, calling Regan's comments irresponsible. Days later, global markets plummeted due to investor panic over the economic implications of the coronavirus and falling oil prices. As the virus spread globally, cases in the U.S. climbed significantly. Fox News and Fox Business Network faced criticism for their initial coverage of the coronavirus epidemic. The network minimized the coronavirus. As with Reagan, several hosts believed the virus was meant to harm the president politically. Critics of the network criticized its dismissive approach, especially since its audience was older and more susceptible to the disease. Reagan's episode generated outrage before the month ended, prompting Fox Network to temporarily pause Trish Regan prime time. Prolonged criticism led to the network's decision to remove her show from its lineup. Additionally, Kennedy was eliminated, followed by FBNAM, Bulls, and Bears in the following week. Unfortunately, Reagan's consequences continued. The network severed its association with her. The statement read, "We appreciate her contributions to the network and wish her continued success in her future efforts. We will maintain a limited live prime time schedule to free up staff resources for ongoing coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic." She responded to her termination with this statement. "I have liked my time at Fox and plan to prioritize my family during these challenging times. I appreciate the outstanding staff at Fox Business and the numerous chances it has offered me. I eagerly anticipate this next career stage." That ended Trish Regan's tenure at Fox. This was the start of Trish Regan, the podcaster. She saw the internet's potential for anyone willing to work and establish a following. Good thing she was already well known and had a loyal following. After being fired from major networks, Regan returned in 2021 with her own podcast, The Trish Regan Show. She owned Tom Holdings, the multimedia firm behind it. Regan, a former Fox staffer, has become a media behemoth with over 1.1 million YouTube followers and tens of millions of monthly views. Her podcast is in YouTube's top 100. According to her About page, Trish's daily news broadcast on YouTube focuses on conservative analysis of free speech, economic liberty, national security, and financial future. Besides her accomplishments, Regan serves as executive editor at American Consequences and co-founded and edits 76research.com, a financial research organization that provides market insight for investors. Regan married her husband, James Ben, in 2001 and has 3 children, Elizabeth, Jamie, and Alexandra. Regan, a mother of 3, acknowledges the challenge of balancing work and life. She feels happy to have discovered a solution to make it all work. She admitted to taking one of her children to work and traveling for business, demonstrating her ability to manage the family despite the demands of keeping up with trends and the unstable financial market. In 2025, Regan, 53, hosts the Trish Regan Show podcast, providing political and economic commentary as a notable conservative commentator. The podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. She is a sought-after keynote speaker on fiscal monetary policy and makes frequent media appearances, providing insightful independent perspective. Dedicated fans saw Regan as the epitome of tenacity, remaining unbroken despite life's challenges. Consider calling in some of the hits yourself to get back on your feet and continue going forward. Even Regan's opponents praised her perseverance. During her early days in pageantry, she stressed the importance of being tenacious and able to think quickly.